Here we go. Okay, so this is my first video for my YouTube channel and I'm so excited because it's something that I've been wanting to do for many years. I'm out of breath. I woke up this morning and I've been getting in my own head the last couple of weeks, trying to grow a business as a mindset coach to help dyslexic women, and it's really tough. It's tough because not only am I doing something I've never done before, that I've never seen anyone in my family do, have their own business, so I have no idea what I'm doing half the time, but also that I am neurodivergent. I am ADHD, I am ADHD. I have ADHD, I have dyslexia. That's what I'm helping coach women and empowering them to understand. And at the same time, I have my own set of struggles. So for a very long time, I'm sure you have as well, you see these people doing YouTube channels and you just think, well, what would be the point? There's just so many people doing it now. But I had a call with a girl this week, and I offer discovery calls to see, you know, people who are struggling. They can come on a call with me if they're interested in investing in, you know, a coach. They can sit with me and we can kind of hash out where they're at and where they want to get to and if we're a good fit to work together. And she just kind of reminded me that I don't realize how much putting myself out there will have, and maybe I don't know where this video will go or who will watch it, but actually the most important thing is that I am just doing that as a resource, as some kind of value for dyslexic women or men. I coach women, but men might watch this too. So anyway, this woman, she was really bad, in a bad way, about her dyslexia. She had just been made redundant from her job, the only person in her whole company. The previous job that she went for an interview, and at the end of the interview they asked, is there anything else you want to say? And they were like, and she was like, oh, I'm dyslexic, and they made a huge deal about it and said it's a HR issue, and she went out the interview room crying her eyes out. She's been told she was told by someone that if she puts crystals by her bed, it will get rid of her dyslexia. And it's actually so, like, it makes my heart cry because I'm in a different place now. I surround myself with positivity to do with my dyslexia. I've made connections in the dyslexic space for people doing similar things to me. And there's still definitely a strong sense of dyslexia being something that is not what we want, right? But I'm just gonna check that the camera's on. Yeah. I would have cried if it wasn't, so I'm glad that I checked, because as a dyslexic person, we do things sometimes that we're like gobsmacked at how do we manage that. So yeah, so it reminded me that I am a lot ahead in the journey of understanding my dyslexia, and she came on the call because she just wanted to speak to an empowered dyslexic to try and understand my point of view, because she was in the point of view that she could flick a switch, she would not be dyslexic. And I can tell you right now, I would never get rid of my dyslexia because I understand that it's a different way of processing the world. It's not a defect. It's not something that is stopping me from getting the things I want. I just do things differently. And it's as simple as this. We are right side thinkers as dyslexic people. We process information differently. We have abilities to do things that are easier for us, like if we're in a meeting or if we're with friends and we've got to hash out some ideas, be creative, be outside the box, think of something crazy, you know, not all the time like that, but it's going to be easier for us to do that. If we are in a maths exam and we have to memorize equations, it's not going to be as easy. You'll still be able to do it. You'll still be able to get those grades. You just have to work harder and to achieve that, right? So it's the same with neurotypical people who think on the left side of the brain. Oh my God, there's been so many jobs where I'm like, none of these people have common sense. Like coming up with solving a problem for sometimes for neurotypical people is like, hello, and I'm so good at just being like, well, we just need to do this, and then we just do this, or hang on, why have we not thought of that before? And everyone's like, oh yeah. It's not as easy as them to do that as it is for them to learn a language. So it's literally exactly the same, but on opposite sides of the spectrum as neurotypical people. And the only reason that is because they think on the majority of the left hemisphere of their brain, which has language, analytics, maths, science, all of the parts of your brain that you need to do that sort of thing in life activates first for them. Then their right side activates secondary, primary. For dyslexic people, ours will flash up right first. So if someone says to me, if I'm trying to learn a language and I'm trying to learn it via a neurotypical lens, which is memorize. So someone says, at the minute I'm trying to learn Polish because my boyfriend's Polish. Try and memorize the word, this is now going to be a test. Okay, let me just get in the zone because otherwise I'm not going to be able to think, which is something I'm going to teach my clients. Mężczyzna is a man. It might be a man or a boy. It's a man. I'm pretty sure it's a man. Mężczyzna, right? Someone says to me, okay, learn a man in Polish. Mężczyzna. I'm gonna go mężczyzna a million times in my head and be like, please remember, and then 5 minutes later I'm gonna be like, oh, I can't remember that, I'm so thick, right? Because what's happening is I'm trying to use my left brain, short-term memory. Short-term memory is on the left brain. The best thing you can do from this video is go and research what's on the left and the right side of your brain, and you'll be like, oh right, I've wondered why I was really good at that and wondered why I wasn't very good at that. Short-term memory is on the left side of my brain. So if I'm trying to remember a language, that is using first the left side of my brain, okay? That's not how we roll. That's not how we work. It's like using the back door of your house first instead of the front when you always come through the front. It doesn't feel right. So we want to go through the front door first and then we go through the back door. Talking shit, but you know what I mean. So what I started to do now I'm not understanding my dyslexia. I didn't go to a coach, as in I didn't go to a specialist in dyslexia learning. I just knew, okay, I'm a right side thinker. That means that I understand things more visually. I need a visual reference. I also need some emotion. We have our emotional intelligence, our visual processing, all on this right side. That's what I'm really good at. So, and people have said this to me so many times and I've never done it, and I did it, and I've now remembered these words that I promise you would never be able to remember before. I've only ever been able to remember my phone number and the first phone number I ever had in the first house I grew up in. Nothing else. And it's been one of my biggest embarrassments because I'm like, why can't I remember things? But now I know I'll be able to remember a phone number. Okay, so mężczyzna, random as F, but I'm in my living room and I'm thinking, mężczyzna, what comes up for me? Now this is going to be different for everyone because our subconscious brains are weird. We have, everything we do has a picture in our head that we don't even realize. So mężczyzna, what comes up for me? I thought of mesh, the mesh that you get when you're in the kitchen scrubbing something. I kind of think I thought of that because mesh is like quite hard and metal and rough, and like if men were a cleaning product, they'd probably be the mesh thing, and women would be like the sponge, soft and hard, whatever. Mesh, mężczyzna. Then I thought of a chestnut. I literally see a chestnut in my head, and then I see the mesh and the chestnut, as in the nut, in my brain, and I think of that whilst I say mężczyzna. And I know that when someone says to me, what's a boy in Polish, I immediately start to think of the mesh, and then what happens naturally is the chestnut. Mężczyzna. And that's how I've remembered to say a man in Polish. And that example is just me leaning on my strengths. And you've probably heard this so many times. If you're watching this and you're dyslexic, which you are, or you think you might be, you've probably had so much information of people talking about lean on your strengths, don't lean on your challenges. That's what that means. It means thinking about, hang on, am I forcing myself for a shape that I don't fit in right now? Am I forcing myself to memorize something? So many people come to me and they say, you know, the biggest challenge I have at work is that I just can't remember the things that people are telling me. And then when I break it down with them, I'm like, okay, so what's happening when this is happening to you? What is going on? Well, I'm in the office, and you know, it's really busy, and there's people talking. So, okay, so you're in a busy environment and someone's verbally speaking to you about what they want you to do. Yeah. I don't think a neurotypical person would be able to handle that very well. And if they did, then they're just working really hard and trying to do that. So what can we change here, right? Because one, we know verbal communication, we're not going to be able to memorize. Again, another thing which I'll talk more about on this channel is phonics is the reason you cannot spell right, because we just can't activate very much our phonics, how we hear sounds, okay? And how did you learn to spell? Through phonics. Look it up. So people think I'm so thick because I can't spell. No. You can't spell because in your brain, your phonetic processing doesn't activate very well. Visual processing, oh my God, it's flying around. So if you're trying to learn to spell be, se, de, forget it. We never fully picked up the small sounds in words. We weren't able to process them, and this is a part of the way we learn to spell, we learn to read. The curriculum is because we are missing out a whole group of people who might be right side thinkers, and they learn through visual reference. The A, okay, not the sound, how it looks, how the words come together. All right. So anyway, I don't want to go off on a tangent. So we're back to, where were we? Yeah, so if you're in a busy room and someone's verbally speaking to you instructions, that's not going to work. One, because the sensory overload of the room is going to make you stressed out. What was going to make you more anxious is that you know that you aren't good at memorizing things, and you had an experience before that you felt really stupid because you just couldn't remember what someone told you and you had to ask them 3 times, right? So that's going off in your head as well. So you've got the anxiety of feeling stupid if you can't remember what someone's telling you, whilst you're looking at them, and all you're seeing as you're looking in their eyes and they're talking to you and there's busy rooms going on, you're just thinking, you're visualizing that moment that you can't remember what they're saying, right? So that's going on in your head. Your brain is going, I don't work this way, please just write it down. And then you walk away from the situation and you can't remember what the person said, like you knew that they wouldn't, because you had that image in your head that you had before when it didn't work out. And you're sat there stressed out, sweating, because you got asked Linda again what she asked you 4 times before. Let's switch it up. Now we know that visual, right side, right. So someone's asking you in a busy environment, can you do this, and that? Sorry, Linda, bit busy at the minute, can't really hear you very well. Do you mind if we go somewhere that's less quiet? Or could you send me an email with all the instructions of what you want me to do, because I'm not going to remember what you're going to tell me anyway, so it's a waste of time. Just email me, and if you want to talk it through, then let's go and sit in a room together and chat. How does that? Yeah, great, okay, cool. For some dyslexic people, that is like putting a post-it on your forehead and being like, I'm thick. No, like that is just a normal request that anyone can give, because it's a smart thing to do. But what dyslexic people do is they force themselves in situations because they don't want to look stupid. And actually, in doing that, we end up fulfilling that cycle of a negative loop cycle in our head of the thoughts that we don't want. We end up then just perpetuating this feeling that we aren't good enough, we can't do it, we make mistakes. And this is where my coaching comes in. And I'm talking like this because the more I do my coaching, the more it clicks, and I'm like, fucking hell, this is really helping people. You can only have so many reasonable adjustments, talk to camera, whatever it is, all of that stuff. It's all external stuff, right? And this is the thing, dyslexic people are scrambling around, and don't get me wrong, they work, but they're assistive. They're assistive technologies. They're scrambling around hoping that these assistive technologies will solve their problems. And a lot of the time, we forget our own resourcefulness. We forget that we are capable human beings. We are actually beyond capable. Why is 10% of entrepreneurs, multi-billionaires, dyslexic, right? They have tapped into the finest tuning of what their dyslexia gives them. People talk about the invisible gift, and it's cheesy as fuck, but it's true. There is so much potential in you. There is so much potential in you. And I'm getting emotional because I'm going back to the girl who I had a phone call with, who someone told her, if you have crystals, it can go away. You are missing the point here. You can do anything that you want to do, but please stop trying to force yourself to do it the way you've been taught or the way you think is the right way. Take a step back. Think about all the things in your life that you're really good at. Better. Think about all the things in your life that are easy for you to do, that feel easy. It's like, yeah, that's not a struggle for me. Acknowledge that for some people that's not easy. That's a special thing that you have. And how do you make that thing easy? Why is that thing easy? And how can you transfer that onto the things that you find really hard? Really break it down, write it down. List of things that you find really easy, and that's not going to be easy for you to think of because you won't even think about it. We're so focused on the stuff that we find hard to do, we completely forget about the stuff, actually, I'm really good at that. And that's one of the first things that I do when I meet anyone talking about their dyslexia, is I get them to tell me, what are you good at? What have you thrived at? What's your biggest achievement? Why are you talented? These are the things I get people to explore, because we spend half our lives as dyslexic people, just focusing on all the things that we're shit at, and we wonder why we feel bad about ourselves, or we wonder why we're not getting the job we want, or we wonder why we're not having the relationships we want. If you're giving off that stink and you're in yourself feeling like I'm not good, what's going to come back to you? Not good. Events that are going to prove to you that your belief is real. Even if what you did was really good, you're still only going to see what you're bad at, because that is what you believe. You have to change your beliefs. You have to make your self-esteem higher. You have to build your confidence. It has to come in here. And this is what the dyslexic sector is missing. They're missing the point. It's all about people. It's all about our brains and how they work and how we feel about ourselves. And this is the ironic thing, is that as dyslexics, we are intuitive, deeply emotional, holistic, creative, visual. And you look at what's going on out there in the creative space, in the dyslexic space, it looks like a neurotypical funk. Like, it doesn't look like dyslexia. To me, dyslexia is like colourful and shapes and different movements, right? It's just creative and beautiful, and we are talking about dyslexia like it's a maths equation. Do this, then do this, then that equals that. I'm going off on a tangent now, but this has been my first YouTube video, and it's felt so good to talk about all the things that have been in my mind for so many months, years. And I really hope you follow me. I really hope that you comment on what you enjoyed about this video. And I really hope that you let me know what you want to know about. I'm a dyslexic. I'm a dyslexic. I'm a mindset coach for dyslexic women. I'm building an empire to help people feel empowered about their dyslexia, through a holistic self-love lens instead of a, I don't know, like the other stuff that's going on. Like, how can you fit into the workplace? How can you be good at university? And we're going to go back to basics, and we're going to tap into who we are as human beings and start to really think about, how can I become a more resourceful human being? How can I start to love myself more? How can I make my life the dream life that I've always wanted? That I wake up every day and everything feels easy, okay? Even the hard stuff feels easy, because I'm leaning on the best parts of me. I love you. Thank you for watching this. Subscribe and all that doolally that people say on YouTube channels that I'm getting used to. And I will see you in the next video.